I would like to discuss a passing package. I mean, complete course within 10-15 minutes. I'm going to share a video. If you watch this video, surely I promise you, you are going to clear the competitive examination, especially NPTEL examination, GATE examination, etc. So it's a condensed package. I would like to inform you that please go through completely so that you will be getting a better confidence to appear for the examination. So welcome to passing package for the subject machine learning and deep learning fundamentals and applications. First of all, you have to study what is the definition of machine learning, learn from the data. So the train the data is very important. You are going to train the data using any kind of algorithm or a model. Supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learnings are the basic classification of machine learning. Example of supervised learning, that is regression and classification. If I talk about unsupervised learning, example is clustering and PCA. If I talk about reinforcement learning, robotics, gameplay, etc., are belongs to reinforcement learning. Supervised learning, learn from the data, labeled data. If I talk about unsupervised learning, learn from the unlabeled data. Okay. So reinforcement learning, learn through trial and error by receiving rewards and punishment. So try to go through these basic concept. Study what is performance metrics. So we measure the performance metrics using confusion metrics. We have true positive, true negative, false positive, false negative. Also try to study the equation for accuracy. True positive plus true negative by true positive plus true negative, false positive plus false negative. Precision means true positive by true positive plus false positive. Recall, that is true positive by true positive plus false negative. Even F1 score is twice precision into recall by precision plus recall. Study this formula. This is very, very important. You can get the numerical example based on this formula. Study the performance parameters such as mean squared error, MSE, 1 by n sigma yi minus y dash the whole square. Then MAE, mean absolute error, 1 by n modulus of yi minus y cap. R square, that is R square score, coefficient of determination, 1 minus sigma yi minus y cap the whole square by ya minus y the whole square. These three formula you have to remember. And bias variance trade-off. What is the meaning of bias variance trade-off? To minimize underfitting and overfitting. So the thing is, you have to maintain like a high bias and low variance means underfitting. Similarly, low bias and high variance means overfitting. So the good fit is low bias and low variance. That is the requirement exactly we are going to perform. Linear regression, follow the linear equations, and the method of minimizing overfitting, that is the preventive method. Go to regularization method, drop out early stopping, cross validation, increase the data set size, and least helpful method. So there are numerical examples, kindly practice it accordingly. And finally, go through the quick revision sheet. Formula for accuracy, true positive plus true negative by total. Precision, true positive by true positive plus false positive. Recall means true positive by true positive plus false negative. F1 score, 2 PR by F plus R. MSC formula, bias formula, variance, overfitting. High variance means overfitting. High bias means underfitting. And the equation for linear regression. These are the basic things you should understand. And try to follow the multiple choice questions. For example, in multi-class classification problem, the diagonal elements of the confusion matrix, the number of correct prediction. Likewise, you can prepare. So for example, binary classification problem, recall measure, the proportion of actual positive correctly identified. Even you can go through the numerical example. Okay, based on the performance metrics, you can get the questions. So calculation of total samples. Okay, calculation of correct prediction, then calculation of accuracy, ratio of correct prediction by total sample, you will be getting 82.76%. Like this, you can get the numerical example. In one precision, calculation of the precision, true positive by true positive plus false positive. Also, try to go through these numerical examples. Okay. So all the numerical examples also very important. So please go through numerical example and which is in the form of MCQs. Surely you will be getting a confidence to crack the examination. Even bias calculation. So how to calculate the bias? Okay, bias equal to 1 by n, sigma is equal to 1 to n, ya minus y cap minus ya. That is a formula for bias. Okay. Similarly, like calculation of variance formula. So 1 by n to y predicted minus y cap the whole square. That is called a formula for computation of variance. So the second part is basically based decision theory. Study what is the meaning of based decision theory. It is a probabilistic approach. Minimize the expected loss or risk. That is a major goal. Okay, study the formula, Bayes theorem formula. This is very important. Even Bayes classifier formula, that is also important to minimize the risk. So study what is a loss function. Okay, and a loss risk function. These are the important one. Okay, normal density and a discriminant function. Study what is normal distribution and what is the general formula for computing the normal distribution. Even try to go for like a numerical problem. So study about what is BBN. BBN stands for Bayesian Belief Network. Okay, so the meaning of Bayesian belief network you have to study. Even like an example problem, how to identify the spam mail. How many spam mails are there in our inbox? Then independence in bias network. Study the summary sheet. If you study the summary sheet, it will be easy to recall and write down the like MCQ appropriate way. Study these important points. For example, in BBN, variable from direct acyclic graph DAC. Bias decision rule combines loss function and decision rule. And a loss function, it qualifies the cost of errors. Assumption, what are the major assumption? Note, make a note of assumption. What is flu? Cuff means F and C are independent. Risk-based decision. And a binary features example, that is class A. Okay, and also try to study the numerical example and the multiple choice questions accordingly. Same questions can be expected for your examination. For example, optimal decision bias decision theory is one that minimizes the loss function. Likewise, you please go through the theory-based questions as well as the numerical example because all are very important. And this is most likely questions. Even try to solve the problems and take your time and find it out because you have 3 hours of examination, especially if you are looking for NPTEL. For gate examination, time is very limited. So coming to another type of questions like a parametric and non-parametric density estimation. Study what is the difference between parametric and non-parametric density estimation. The difference you have to study with the suitable examples. For example, MLE, maximum likelihood estimation comes under parametric distribution, where non-parametric estimation, that is Parson window and KNN. KNN stands for K nearest neighbors. Also, these equations are very important for solving numerical example. Bayesian estimation equation. Okay, so that is very important. Similarly, non-parametric methods, then Parson window method is most popular. Small h leads, here the smallest lead overfitting, that means high variance. Largest leads over smoothing and underfitting, high bias. Okay, so KNN you have to study for small value of K that leads overfitting, that means high variance. For larger K, high bias and low variance that leads underfitting. So large K means underfitting. For small K leads overfitting. That point you have to remember because MCQ that may be tricky and you may get confusion. Remember this. So try to study the difference between like a different like a parametric and non-parametric approach. Okay. So these are the most popular questions. Try to remember the formula. For example, MAP estimate 1 by lambda plus x. K is equal to 1 means overfitting. Large K means underfitting. That point you have to remember because this is very, very important. H is equal to 0 overfitting. That point you have to remember. Okay. So whole summary is mentioned in 3 lines. Parametric means assume distribution. Non-parametric, no assumption. Okay. And corresponding numerical example is very important. And MCQ, multiple choice questions. So even these expressions and all very important, especially for the like MCQ questions. Okay, this is one of the important questions related to MLE. That is actually one of the evergreen questions. Okay. So kindly practice it accordingly so that you can score well. So then next is perception learning algorithm. The decision function formula you have to study. And discriminative models. What is the meaning of discriminative models? And the function which minimize that concept of SVM that you have to study, minimize half omega square. The key concept of SVM, then the difference between hard margin and soft margin, kernel trick, those things you have to study. Parallelly, try to like solve the MCQs, which is already displayed on the screen. Okay, one by one you can solve and try to identify the right answer. Even numerical problem, please don't leave because these kind of numerical examples are quite simple. For example, question number 8, have a look on what could be the output for 3 neuron has weight. Weight is given, input is also provided. So now you are supposed to calculate the output. Okay, use the formula. So net input you are supposed to calculate, then multiply net input by 2. That means twice the net input is equal to output. Okay, so try to work out this like a numerical example. Study what is logistic regression. So the output you have to see either yes or no or 0 or 1, pass or fail. So like equations also you have to study like 1 by 1 plus e to the power omega t x plus b. Then decision tree, classification and regression. What is the meaning of decision tree? Three important terms. What is root node? What is leaf node? What is branch? And study the concept of entropy, Gini index, and information gain. These formulas are quite important. Please do remember this. What is pruning? It is used to reduce the overfitting. That is one of the important point. Even study the hidden Markov model, HMM. So what is hidden state? Example of hidden state, example of observable symbols, example of transition probability, and emission probability. These things you have to remember. Even logistic regression is table. That is very important. And I have seen numerical example based on logistic regression, like a p is equal to 1 by 1 plus e to the power minus z. Very, very important. Decision tree, like a important formula on entropy, gain, etc. HMM, study about the like emission, transition, and initial probability. And logistic regression, it's a probabilistic approach. The value outcomes varies from 0 to 1. Decision tree, the splitting, grow, and pruning. And HMM, hidden state plus observed output plus time dependency. Try to solve these MCQs very well. So definitely it will give you improve your confidence for appearing the final examination. Okay. In MCQs, your answer should be very sharp. Okay, and you should have a good knowledge, basics, then only you can solve the MCQ. That point you have to remember. So don't randomly select the answer. You think and answer it properly. Other one is ensemble methods. Combination of multiple model, weak learners to make the model strong. That is called the ensemble method. So we have three ensembles, bagging, boosting, and stacking. Bagging means like a purpose. What is the purpose of reduce the variance? Even boosting, the purpose is reduce the bias. Okay, boosting, reduce the bias. And different type of boosting algorithm, ADA boost, gradient boosting. Okay, gradient boosting, new learner correct the previous model. That is a major peculiarity. Random forest, like ensemble and decision tree using bagging plus random feature. Bagging plus random feature selection, that is actually called a random forest. So study the exam tip like a random forest equal to bagging plus random feature selection. What is a stacking? Stacking in the sense meta learner combines base models prediction. That is called a stacking. And entire comparison is given in a table. Bagging reduces the variance, boosting reduces the bias, ADA boost reduces the bias, gradient boosting reduces the bias, random forest reduces the bias, sorry, variance, stacking reduces the dependencies. This point you have to remember. Bagging means parallel plus reduction of variance. Boost, sequential plus reduce the bias. Random forest bagging plus random feature selection. Gradient boosting correct the previous errors. ADA boost weight the multi-classified sample, misclassified samples. Stacking meta learners. Study these multiple choice questions, answers. You have to look into that properly because answer is very important for MCQ. Kindly go through it. Okay. So you can pause this video and you can check out, can practice it separately. Okay. So because those questions are very, very important and you can expect in the NPTEL final examination. Even gate examination also, these points are important. Study the dimensionality problem. Okay. So what is the meaning of dimensionality problem? And try to study the meaning of PCA. What is the meaning of PCA? Okay. It is unsupervised learning method and find the maximum variance. LDA means what? LDA finds the directions of best discrimination between the classes. That's a specialty of LDA. Okay, and study the difference between PCA and LDA. PCA is unsupervised where LDA is supervised. That's a major difference. And PCA means variance based. It's unsupervised where LDA is and supervised. It's a class separation based. This is very, very important point you can expect in the MCQs. Okay, so kindly solve these MCQs before appearing for the final examination. And try to note down the important points in your notebook so that the concept will be very clear for everyone. Even these numerical example, you have to solve it by yourself. Okay, so try to mark the answer very correctly. That is also important since it's an online examination. So you need to practice it well, and you should practice in a pen and paper and get the final answer properly. So in the like a mixture model and clustering, study what is mixture model. Data is assumed to come from multiple probability distribution. So like mixing will be done in the form of weight. Okay, so estimate mean, variance, and the mixing of weight. Okay, so that is actually important points. Then try to mixture model means data from the multiple distribution. GMO means mixture of Gaussians. EM expectation plus maximization. K means distance based hard clustering. So try to solve the MCQs which is already given. You can pause this video and try to solve it because all are very, very important. Because if you go through these assignment questions, surely you are going to clear the examination. That is very important. So that's what I like highlighted these assignment questions by using green color font as an answer and a black color font as a question. Okay, try to answer it properly. So another session, you have to focus on the hierarchical agglomerate clustering. It is start with each point as a higher cluster, repeatedly merge with the closest two clusters, and it does not require K value initially. It linkage comprises of single linkage, then complete linkage, and average linkage. Then first C means you have to study for soft K means. Okay, so here M is equal to 1. Then mean shift clustering non-parametric method and study this classification. Hierarchical agglomerate, it is bottom to top approach. First K means soft clustering. Mean shift means non-parametric. These points are very important. Even these MCQs are very, very important. Kindly go through these MCQs. Kindly request you to go through the MCQs. Okay. So these are the most probable questions. Even neural networks, study the basics. What is single neuron model? Difference between multi-layer and a single neuron model. Yeah, like a multi-layer model has input layer, hidden layer, and output layer, where a single neural model does not have these kind of speciality. Functions used in the perceptron, that is sign and step, where functions used in the multi-layer network is like a sigmoid and a ReLU, then tanh. Then back propagation, update the weight using error. Overfitting means high variance model. And RBF neural network, what is the meaning of RBF neural network? Radial basic function. What is SOM? Self-organizing map, which is unsupervised learning. The sigmoid function, the output is 1 by 1 plus e to the power minus z. MSE loss means y true minus y predicted the whole square by 2. And study what is the like a backdrop does high weight updates. Overfitting means high variance, not a NN type decision tree. Decision tree is not an NN type. If LR small loss decreases slowly, then high LR. So try to solve these numerical example. Along with that, you have to study the theory part of MCQs. Try to make a brief note on this so that you can clear the examination without any issues. All are right answer only. Kindly point out the right answer. Okay. So these formulas and all you have to remember and recite it frequently until you are appearing for the examination because answer is most important. So request you to go through this formula, especially for MSc formula. If you know the MSc formula, I can easily compute the answers also. Try to study the parameter, what is n, what is ya, what is y cap. Okay. Then introduction to deep neural network. What is deep learning? Uses many layers to learn the complex pattern. Layers. You are using the layers and studying the complex pattern. Neural network with the multiple hidden layers equal to deep neural network, DNN. So use images, speech, and NLP, etc. CNN means convolutional neural network, designed for image processing. And CNN comprises of convolution learned from the features. Activation functions are ReLU, leaky ReLU. Pooling means reduces the sizes. Okay. Then vanishing and exploring the gradients. Exploring the gradient means gradient clipping. Vanishing the gradient means leaky ReLU, batch, norm, and residual connections. Study the like a history of ANN architecture and study the special features point. And these are the important thing which is helpful for the question, especially for MCQ. Exploding gradient solution, gradient clipping, vanishing gradient better be activation, leaky ReLU, max pooling effect, that is half the spatial dimension. Repetitive field refers to local region input volume. Next, convolution layers of AlexNet is equal to 5. That is important point in a assignment question which I observed, which has the maximum parameter BGG16. Google Net belong to which key module? Inception module. Why small kernel parameters grow quadratically? Parallelly, you have to solve these questions so that you can understand the concept very clearly. Go for a repeated revision so the concept will remains in your memory and you can directly answer, especially AlexaNet architecture. How many layers are there? That is 5 layers only. These are the direct questions. Which activation function less prone to the vanishing gradient, ReLE. Okay. Also try to solve these questions. It will be very easy for you for writing the MCQ finally. Recent trends in deep learning. So what is PCA stand for? Removing the features components that have less variance. What is autoencoder? Encoder plus bottleneck plus decoder. That is the meaning of autoencoder. So what is GAN? Like two models, generator versus discriminator. Generator creates the fake data where discriminator classify the real versus fake data. So discriminator classifies the real versus fake data. Problem mode collapse in the main challenges. So what is RNN? Recurrent neural network used for sequential or time series data, speech, text, stock prices, sensor data, etc. Unit stands for used for image segmentation, especially for medical image, has contracting the path. Context like capturing has expensive path unsampling. So study these concept. What is PCA? What is gen discriminator? What is RNN problem? Autoencoder bottleneck, unit skip, RNN application, then GAN limitations. You can separately study this table along with the explanation. So based upon that, you can try to answer the questions. For example, PCA, low variance removed, removing the least variance features. So GAN and a real versus fake classifier, RNN problems, and a long sequence and a repeated like a multiplication small values. Unit skip, like a detail retention and prevent fine details. RNN means sequence data and time series problem. So those things will be resolved. You can solve these questions. For example, how PCA reduces dimensionality. Example is by removing the features that contribute the least variance. Likewise, you can try to practice these questions parallelly and make the important points and revise it. Surely few questions will be from the assignment problem only. You can easily clear the like a subject without any issue. So you can go through these questions frequently and let me know if you have any queries. So what you can do is you can prepare a short note. So if you want, I can share you the short note which I already prepared. So on request, I am going to share you. Also, if you want, I can create the link. One link is already attached. In that, you can go through the link. Click on the link means it will direct to the like my drive so that you can download the same material and you can practice it. Because you have to download once and keep revising and clear the examination. I wish you all the very best for your examination. Do well and try your level best so that everybody can clear the minimum marks. And happy learning. Wish you all the very best. This you can utilize it for placement drive as well as forthcoming interviews. Thank you all.